Now that we are done with the capital asset pricing model and also the security market line, we are going to discuss what are the assumptions of the capital asset pricing model. So, there are some restrictive assumptions in the model that a person should be aware while using the model. Number one is that all investors focus on a single holding period and they seek to maximize the expected utility of the terminal wealth by choosing among alternative portfolios on the basis of each portfolio's expected return and standard deviation. Point number two is that all investors can borrow or lend an unlimited amount at a given risk free rate of interest, and there are no restrictions on short sales of any asset. So, borrowing at an unlimited or even lending at an unlimited amount is something that is most unlikely not going to happen in reality in the practical world. Now, point number three is that all investors have identical estimates of the expected return, variances, and covariances among all assets. That is, investors have homogeneous expectations. So, basically, point number three is telling that everybody has perfect information, and this is not likely going to be the case in reality because everybody does have different types of information, and even that information can be interpreted in different ways by different people. So it is not necessary that everyone will have the same expectation about expected return or variance or covariance. And actually, in the stock market, trading happens when different people have different expectations about the returns. Like if one person thinks that the stock price is going to go up and the other person thinks that the stock price is going to go down, that's why they're trading. If one person is purchasing the stock, he is most probably purchasing it because he thinks that the stock price will go up, while another person who is selling the stock might be thinking that the stock price is going to go down. So people usually do have different expectations. Point number four is that all assets are perfectly divisible and perfectly liquid, that is marketable at the going price. Fifth is that there are no transaction costs. Sixth is that there are no taxes. So usually there are taxes, there are transaction costs, and so on. Point number seven is that all investors are price takers. That is, all investors assume that their own buying and selling activity will not affect the stock price. Usually, if you're a small investor, it doesn't bring such a big impact. But yes, if you do have a big percentage of the shares and you sell them together, it most probably will bring the price of the stock down. And the point number eight is that the quantities of all assets are given and fixed. So a lot of the assumptions are there to make the theory more simple, but you need to keep them in mind whenever you're using the model so you know what are the restrictions in the model.